An anonymous post appeared on social media at midnight, and within hours it had exposed something so disturbing inside Balmoral Castle that Prince William launched a secret investigation that led him straight to the one person he never expected. Exhausted servants working 18-hour shifts for barely minimum wage, staged photographs designed to destroy his reputation, secret midnight meetings in the castle gardens, and a young maid who was used as a pawn and then thrown away like garbage the moment she became a liability. But the real shock was not the scandal itself, it was who was behind it. The trail of evidence led directly to Queen Camilla's private quarters, and what William discovered there set off a chain of events that has left the royal family more fractured than at any point since the death of Princess Diana. Stay with us because what you are about to hear has been suppressed behind palace walls, and the monarchy is desperate to keep it buried. Welcome back to Gossip News, your #1 source for breaking UK royal news and celebrity stories that the mainstream media refuses to touch. Before we get into this jaw-dropping story, please take 1 second to hit that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. Your support is what keeps us going and allows us to continue exposing the truth about what really happens behind the ancient walls of the British royal family. Recently, as Prince William began taking over operational duties from King Charles, an anonymous post suddenly appeared on social media exposing the harsh life behind the ancient stone walls of Balmoral. Exhausted servants, cold and rigid rules, and an atmosphere many described as toxic. Public opinion immediately erupted. Prince William quickly denied the allegations, but the more he investigated, the more he discovered disturbing irregularities. Everything seemed carefully orchestrated, leading to a name no one expected. Meanwhile, Camilla remained silent, watching from the shadows with a suspiciously calm demeanor. Secret nighttime meetings, staff members who suddenly vanished, and whispered rumors that had never been spoken aloud began to reveal a tense power struggle between two forces within the royal family. It all began on one night in early 2026 at Balmoral Castle, where the Scottish hills were still veiled in a light mist. The historic castle, once the favorite retreat of Queen Elizabeth II, was now witnessing a delicate period of transition. Due to his health, the post was accompanied by several blurry photos. A long, dimly lit corridor at midnight illuminated only by faint yellow lights, worn work shoes placed next to a trash bin, and a corner of the kitchen piled high with dirty dishes. Small details such as a wall clock showing 2 in the morning or handwritten shift schedules were enough to send chills down readers' spines. Public opinion in the United Kingdom boiled over instantly. On the streets of London, people stopped to gossip excitedly. At Balmoral, the atmosphere grew strangely oppressive. Staff whispered in the kitchens and rest areas. Some anxiously glanced out the windows, fearing every movement was being watched. Those who had worked night shifts became even quieter, for they knew all too well the exhausting hours that stretched on endlessly. The scandal erupted at the precise moment when William was trying to strengthen his image as a responsible and approachable leader. Now all those efforts seemed overshadowed by a heavy dark cloud. William received the news while in his temporary office overlooking the Eastern Flower Garden. He was reviewing documents pen in hand when his chief advisor entered with a grave expression and informed him that there was a post on X spreading very rapidly. William scanned the content on his phone and his face gradually darkened. It was not explosive anger, but deep disappointment mixed with genuine concern. He knew that during this sensitive transition period, any crack could be exploited to attack the entire royal family. William said slowly, with his voice low but resolute, that this was not just an accusation. This was a direct strike against their credibility. He stood up and passed a few steps towards the window. Outside, mist still shrouded the distant hills, but his mind was in turmoil. William understood that the public expected him as the future king to show empathy and responsibility. If the scandal dragged on, not only would his personal image be damaged, but the position of his father and the future of the monarchy itself could be seriously shaken. Just a few hours later, William decided to speak out publicly. He drafted a short but clear statement released through official channels. He completely denied the allegations of harsh working conditions at Balmoral. He stated that they always strive to ensure a fair and humane working environment for all staff. He announced he would immediately order an independent internal investigation to clarify the matter and publish the most transparent results possible. The statement was posted alongside an image of William working at Balmoral, Yet many people remained skeptical. Inside the royal family, pressure from seasoned advisors began to mount. That night, the lights in William's office remained on until dawn. He did not sleep. The scandal had barely erupted and already severely shaken the monarchy's image. Deep in his heart, William began to sense that this was not a random. At first, William thought it was simply a former employee seeking revenge. He had seen many staff leave with grievances over the years, but the tracing results left the entire meeting room in stunned silence. The post had been made from a device connected directly within the grounds of Balmoral, not from London or some distant city, but right there under that very roof. William clenched his fist lightly, his face remaining calm, but his eyes revealing clear tension. He said slowly that this meant the person behind it was still at Balmoral and they had access to the internal network. From then on, the strange signs began to emerge more clearly. William requested detailed reports on staff activities in recent days. Some night shift workers showed unusually anxious behavior. They avoided eye contact. They bowed their heads when meeting him in the corridors, and they always seemed eager to finish their tasks quickly. Particular attention was drawn to Emily, a young maid working in the service area. William did not rush to conclusions. He knew he had to be cautious because one small mistake could panic the staff and expose the investigation. In his heart, he quietly noted this person. In the following days, security camera footage was thoroughly reviewed. William personally watched several recordings. He saw Emily secretly leaving the staff quarters at 1 in the morning, moving quickly through a side corridor before disappearing into the dark garden. Suspicion rose strongly in his mind. This was no longer a personal act. The nighttime meetings and the unusual anxiety of several other staff members were beginning to paint a picture of an organized plan from within the royal household. While William tirelessly followed the strange signs at Balmoral, not far away in her private warm room, overlooking the western garden of the castle, Queen Camilla sat by the tall window. The light from a small fireplace cast shadows on her face, highlighting the wrinkles she always tried to conceal with subtle makeup. She held a cup of Earl Grey tea but did not drink. She only turned it gently in her hands. On the table, her phone displayed news of the rapidly spreading scandal. Camilla had never hidden her deep-seated fear. William was gradually winning the hearts of the people. He was young, modern, and always appeared as the model husband, devoted father, and responsible leader. The way he took over King Charles's duties made the public place increasing trust in him. As for her, she knew her position was still fragile. Even as queen, she could feel the weary glances from some advisors and the public. If William continued, not everything went perfectly smoothly, however. Two other maids accidentally overheard the conversation between Emily and Camilla's bodyguard in a dark corner of the kitchen while cleaning late at night. The whispers about the plan, the money, and the fake photos left both women frozen in terror. They stood motionless behind the door with hearts pounding. One whispered shakily that if they spoke out, they would lose their jobs immediately. It could even be more dangerous because she was not someone who forgives easily. Fear kept them silent. They chose to pretend they had heard nothing and continued their work with tense expressions. Camilla continued her plan with cold confidence, yet deep in her heart she also felt a vague unease. She knew William was not easily defeated. He was resolute, intelligent, and always acted with calculation. Nevertheless, she would not allow herself to stop. This was a battle to protect her position. To secure the future she had sacrificed so much to obtain. William allowed himself no rest. After many long nights reviewing documents and security data, he decided to push the investigation deeper. Early that morning, while mist still covered the surrounding hills, William summoned the head of security to his private office. Weak sunlight filtered through the tall windows, falling on his face, which showed clear fatigue, but his eyes remained sharp. He told the head of security to review all camera footage from the past 3 days. Focus on the eastern garden and the side corridors. He wanted to know exactly who moved unusually at night. The head of security nodded without further questions. He understood William's character well. Once he decided something, he would pursue it to the end. Within a few hours, the security team completed the review. Then a crucial discovery emerged. On the computer screen, William watched and re-watched the footage. Emily, the young maid he had suspected, appeared clearly. She secretly left the staff quarters at 1 in the morning wearing a dark coat with her head lowered. She moved quickly through the side corridor, avoiding the main cameras, then disappeared into the eastern garden where there were dense bushes and little light. William paused the image and zoomed in. Her face clearly showed tension and anxiety. The head of security reported that this was not just once. She did this at least 3 nights in a row over the past week. William gripped the arm of his chair tightly. Anger surged within him, but he quickly controlled it. He ordered the team to follow her secretly without letting her or anyone else notice. He needed to know who she was meeting. The surveillance was carried out that very night. 2 carefully selected security personnel dressed in plain clothes used infrared equipment and maintained a safe distance. William did not sleep. He sat in his office with his phone placed in front of him, waiting for the report. At exactly 1:30 in the morning, Emily left the staff quarters again. She followed the familiar path, slipping through the bushes. The security officers followed from afar. Then they witnessed a scene that, when reported to William, made even him hold his breath. Emily stopped at a secluded corner of the garden where an old stone bench was hidden by the canopy of an ancient tree. A man in a royal bodyguard uniform was already waiting there. The two stood close, whispering. The man handed Emily a small envelope. She took it, nodded quickly, and turned away. The meeting lasted less than 5 minutes. When the images were sent back, William opened them immediately. He recognized the man. William felt both furious and heartbroken. He had never imagined the conspiracy would come from within the family itself. Camilla, his father's wife, stood behind this attack, but he did not let emotion control him. He knew he had to act carefully and could not rush. He told the head of security during a closed midnight meeting to continue the surveillance, gather more indirect evidence, transfer records, deleted messages, any contact between Emily and Camilla's inner circle, but maintain absolute secrecy. He did not want to expose the investigation before they had enough proof. He planned to approach Emily cautiously. No arrest, no confrontation. William wanted her to willingly tell the truth. He would invite her to a private meeting in a discreet location within the castle and use the evidence to persuade rather than force her. William told his close advisor that she was being used. If he showed her that Camilla had discarded her, perhaps she would choose the side of truth. In the following days, William barely slept. He carried out his daytime duties as usual, receiving officials and reviewing documents. But at night, he devoted all his time to the investigation. The pressure weighed heavily on him. However, Camilla's bodyguard was no fool. He had served her for many years and could sense when something was wrong. That night, after meeting Emily in the secluded corner of the eastern garden, he noticed a strange shadow moving in the darkness. It was not ordinary security personnel. Someone was following them. He did not report it immediately. He waited until he returned to Camilla's security area, then entered her private room after 2 in the morning. Camilla was still awake. She sat at her dressing table holding a glass of red wine, her eyes cold under the dim yellow light. The bodyguard's voice was hoarse with tension as he told her that someone was following Emily. He spotted 2 unfamiliar figures in the garden. They kept their distance, but they were clearly tailing her. Camilla slowly set her wine glass down. Her face did not show panic, but her eyes suddenly darkened. She stood up and walked a few steps towards the window. Outside, Balmoral lay in darkness and thick mist. She clenched her fists with her nails digging into her skin. She whispered William's name with her voice filled with resentment. She said he was acting faster than she thought. She turned back with her gaze now resolute and icy. She declared they could not let the plan collapse now. She ordered everything to be erased immediately. The bodyguard nodded. Within less than an hour, all communication between him and Emily was wiped clean. Encrypted messages were permanently deleted. Transfer accounts were hidden through multiple intermediaries. And the staged photos were moved to another device in preparation for destruction. Camilla stood beside him, supervising every step. She allowed no loopholes. The next morning, as the sun just began to rise over the hills, the order to dismiss Emily was issued. The reason given was vague and absurd. Minor violation of working hours regulations. No explanation and no prior warning. Emily was called to the Human Resources office, and outside the window, the Scottish wind still blew strongly, carrying a chill that seeped into every corner of the castle. Balmoral appeared peaceful on the surface, but inside the secret war was entering its most dangerous phase. Camilla had moved to erase the traces, but she did not know that this very act of cutting ties had inadvertently pushed Emily into a position more vulnerable to William's approach than ever before. And William, on the other side of the castle, had just received the report of Emily's sudden dismissal. He sat in silence for a long time, then nodded slightly. A cold, determined smile flickered across his lips. William did not waste much time before taking action. Immediately after learning of Emily's sudden dismissal, he knew this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. He ordered his security team to secretly contact her and arrange a discreet meeting outside Balmoral. The meeting took place the following afternoon at a small, quiet cafe on the outskirts of Aberdeen, about an hour's drive from the castle. Emily entered the cafe with a weary face and red, swollen eyes from crying. She wore an old coat and clutched her bag strapped tightly. William was already seated in the most secluded corner, wearing a low baseball cap and simple civilian clothes. When Emily sat down opposite him, he looked directly into her eyes with his voice warm yet firm. He told her that he knew she was afraid, but she had nothing left to lose. He placed an iPad in front of her. On the screen was all the evidence they had collected. Emily stared at the screen, her hands trembling. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She choked out with resentment that they had promised her a large sum of money. She said Camilla told her she only needed to post the message and take a few photos. Then Camilla would take care of everything. But yesterday morning they fired her like a dog without any explanation. William let her cry for a moment, then spoke gently. He told her that Camilla used her. Camilla wanted to create a scandal to undermine his position. Now Emily had two choices: stay silent and live in fear, or tell the truth and regain justice for herself. Emily wiped her tears and looked at William for a long time. Her eyes now held a mixture of fear and rage. Finally, she nodded and said she would tell everything. Emily recounted the entire story. From the first time Camilla's bodyguard approached her, the promised money, how Camilla instructed the staging of fake photos, to the plan to create a crisis so the advisory council would doubt William's capability. She also revealed that two other maids knew about it but were too terrified to speak out. William listened with his face growing increasingly stern. He felt both furious and pained. The conspiracy coming from a member of the royal family, his father's wife, left a bitter taste that would never fade. But he did not let emotion control him. He recorded all of Emily's testimony, had her sign a written statement, and promised to protect her. That evening, William convened an emergency meeting of the Royal Advisory Council at Balmoral. The atmosphere in the meeting room was heavy and suffocating. The elderly advisors sat around the long table with their faces anxious under the yellow light. William entered carrying a thick folder. He did not beat around the bush. He presented the evidence clearly, logically, and coldly. The door opened. Camilla walked in, still maintaining her familiar, arrogant demeanor. But when she saw the screen and the eyes of everyone in the room, she froze completely. William looked straight at her with his voice low but resonant. He told her directly that she had instructed staff to spread false information and stage photos to slander him, all because she feared he would take away her position. She used and then discarded an innocent person. This was not the behavior of a member of the royal family. Camilla tried to deny it with her voice rising sharply. She called it slander and accused William of deliberately tarnishing her. But the evidence was overwhelming. The advisors examined the files one by one. Some shook their heads in disappointment. The atmosphere in the room became suffocating beyond endurance. Finally, the head of the council spoke. He said they needed time to review, but the current evidence was extremely serious. Queen Camilla would be temporarily restricted from representative activities and from participating in important decisions. Camilla's face turned pale. She looked at William with eyes full of hatred but could say nothing more. She turned and left the room with her steps heavy like someone walking toward their own exile. The next morning, the information was controlled but still leaked in part. The public gradually learned the truth. The scandal was not caused by William. It stemmed from an internal conspiracy. Public opinion began to turn against Camilla. Many expressed disappointment and outrage at her manipulative actions. William addressed the public with a short statement. He said the royal family had overcome this challenge. The truth had been clarified. They would continue to improve and be more transparent to deserve the trust of the people. The crisis ended. William regained public trust and firmly strengthened his leadership position. He had proven his mettle not only with words, but with decisive and fair action. As for Camilla, Although she remained within the royal family, her position had been severely shaken. She became isolated within the peaceful Balmoral Castle. The long corridors now seemed colder than ever. Thank you so much for staying with us until the very end of this incredible story. If this video shocked you, please smash that like button right now and subscribe to Gossip News with notifications on. Share this video with everyone you know because these stories deserve to be heard. Now we want your completely honest opinion. If you were in Prince William's position and you discovered that the person behind a vicious conspiracy to destroy your reputation was your own stepmother, the Queen, would you trust the royal system to deliver justice? Or would you dare to take matters into your own hands, even if it meant tearing the family apart forever? And do you think Camilla's punishment was severe enough, or should she have faced far worse consequences for what she did? Drop your answer in the comments right now because this conversation is far from over. And click the next video on your screen because what we reveal next will leave you absolutely speechless.